All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Again, welcome to our San Diego Mesa College Community Forum for May the 11th. Can you believe it? It is May the 11th. We have come through this year. We've all done it in different ways. We've all done it in different places. We've had a number of different experiences as we've had this academic year together. But here we are. We are now in what we like to call at Mesa College smile season, which is when we start to celebrate all of our students' accomplishments and come together as a campus to do that. So I hope you've had a chance to see some of our announcements that we've made around the different celebrations of community events that we're having. And also, of course, our commencement, which we'll have two commencements. One will be our virtual commencement. The other will be commencement, and I imagine you'll hear more about that from Dr. Hands when she gives our update from Student Services. The one thing I did want to do was make an announcement that our wonderful classified Senate have a spring fundraiser going, and it's called Miles for Mesa. It's the 2021 Runathon. And there is a DL that went out from Eva Perel, and so, or Perel, always mispronounce it, Eva. And so if you'll take a look at that, it's very easy to do. You just download the form, fill it out, and all of the money that they raise will be going to the Green Fund that our students have started on our campus. So we're excited to see that happen, and thank you to our classified Senate for doing that fundraiser. So Miles for Mesa, the 2021 Runathon, and it goes from May 10th through 17th, and it says any track, any city. So get walking and running. So a couple other updates that I'd like to give before I turn it over to our, oh, thank you for putting that in chat, Charlie, that I'd like to be able to get to. I don't have a ton of updates, but what I will tell you is that we are excited to share that there has been a little bit of a shift in terms of our hiring freeze. We don't just get to go out and hire all open positions right now, but we will be able to keep some of the positions going forward as people retire. And so we will be using our processes, whether it's classified hiring priorities, faculty hiring priorities, and also looking at current data, because you can imagine things have changed since we had those lists together. And so when we have our May 18th President's Cabinet meeting, I'll have more information on positions that might be open and the ones that we're looking to fill. And so it is good news. It's an a ray of sunshine coming through the clouds from a financial perspective, but also we know that there's lots of folks that have been out there holding down lots and lots of work as their colleagues have retired the last 2 years. So we're excited that we're going to be able to open some of those positions. The other thing I wanted to say is that we are excited that this quad is coming along. I'm sure that Lorenz will talk about that in his update, but I happened to be on campus today and there was a fence open, so I got to sneak through, and wow, is it coming along beautifully. So that by the time we all make our way back to campus, we're going to have a beautiful campus quad for all of our students to be able to study, sit out and enjoy. It's just really it's going to be an amazing experience. So with that, I am going to start our updates with our vice presidents. And so let's start with VPA Legaspi.
Thank you, President Lester. And as we'll start, you can see, as President Lester mentioned, our quad is under construction and well on its way. And so here's the most recent progress photo behind me, the quad. And so we poured some cement, and as President Lester mentioned, we will be ready and complete with the quad at the end of this calendar year. So at the end of 2021, we'll have a new quad. And as we take a look to coming back onto campus, we should have a beautiful area for all of us to commune and to be in. So we're looking forward to that. We want to thank our construction workers who are essential for the work that they keep doing while we're off campus and the campus is still closed. Moving into that, I want to briefly talk about kind of the COVID safety and the reopening. As guidelines change every day about what tier we are in and what regulations are deemed safe by the CDC, the county, and the Department of Public Health, I want to thank always Jacqueline Collins and Matt Fay for their tireless effort and to make sure that we are most current and most up to date with the OSHA regulations and making sure that all of us are safe while we are on campus or as we plan to come back onto campus, that we are following the most current guidelines. So thank you, Jacqueline, and thank you, Matt, for your efforts on that. And I also want to say thank you to our vice presidents, Dr. O'Connor, Dr. Hands, for helping prioritize the areas within student services and instructions about what is potentially the priority of coming back in the fall to make sure that we have the services and the courses to best serve our students. And so more on that as we go. We'll have the reopening group. Our last meeting of the semester will be on Friday, and we want to keep this reopening group going as an area to have communications to and from the constituencies on campus. And we'll talk at our next meeting what that looks like over the summer, as I'm sure regulations and guidelines and the situation will be changing as we look to the fall. And then lastly, I want to say with great pride and a big smile that MESA 2030 is in its second readings at all of the Senates, the Academic Senate, Classified Professional Senate, and Student Senate, and then also two that we will be going to our Board of Trustees on Thursday to present the plan. And so again, hard work for the last couple of years with the task force and everyone involved in it. So I want to give a big thank you to everyone that's on the task force. As we're rounding the home stretch, it's not the end of the plan because this will guide and be our light for the things that we're going to be doing for the next 10 years and the facilities that'll help us accomplish the work. But for now, a milestone to celebrate nonetheless after Thursday, pending the board approval of the plan. And so that concludes the updates from administrative services. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorenz. And a special shout out to our MESA 2030 planning group who have done an amazing job, including our student rep. Natalia's been amazing. And so just thank you for all of that. And I just want to personally thank both Dr. Bridget Herron and Lorenz for your leadership as we've done MESA 2030. We had a bit of a, how are we going to do this once we headed into pandemic last year? And it's really, the plan is better than it would have been. Nobody wanted a pandemic, but I believe that it's a plan that will serve us for a long time because we know the level of flexibility we need to have for these kinds of, hopefully, one in a lifetime events. So thank you, Lorenz and Bridget. All right, next, Dr. O'Connor, would you like to share our instructional update?
Certainly, happy to do so. I apologize because my internet is for some reason really slow today. So if I sound weird or freeze, please let me know. I got just a couple of quick updates. The first one, of course, is we are excited. Our summer reg starting on the 17th. We've had a couple of issues with the registration process where some sections have shown full and students have gotten an error message when they try to register. We have identified 60 sections at the Mesa campus. We're working with both admissions colleagues as well as the district to make sure that we get this issue resolved in muy pronto, hopefully. All right. Other than that, another exciting update is that we received word that in the fall we will be allowed to do a folk athletics competition. So we are beginning to plan for that and happy to get our teams winning at Olympians. So the last thing I have to say is there's so many things that I could mention, but just last week's highlight, starting with the physical therapy assistant pinning ceremony. It's always such a fun event. The students have formed a great cohort and it showed through the presentation. I'm very proud of the 26 students who received their pins, and because not only were they, the best going out, also these students took on initiatives to really look at healthcare inequalities, and how those affects the profession they're about to enter. So really proud of their work. Another exciting event, of course, is the dance concert, which I watched with my own daughter, who's a dance teacher. And so I got the running commentary. It was superb. If the fall one was good, the spring one, it was amazing. The last thing I'm going to say is the steamroller printmaking. Again, originality, creativity. Alessandra, I think, wins the award. This is an amazing exhibit. We're going to keep it up in parking lot 1 for everybody to see until June 4th. And I encourage everybody to do so. So that was it.
All right, you made it, Isabel. You're doing just fine. All right, and next, Dr. Hands.
Hello, hello. Well, I hope that I too can make it as my Wi-Fi has been acting up as well. So just a few quick updates. I want to remind you all that Mesa College's virtual awards recognition celebration is going to take place on Wednesday, May 12th. So that's tomorrow at 5 p.m. So at the ceremony, we're going to have the opportunity to honor and recognize and celebrate our students for their great achievements and the donors for their very generous giving. So this year, Mesa College offered 115 scholarships. Combined, we are distributing over $130,000, which was provided across 223 awards to 147 students. So several students received more than one award and several scholarships had more than one awardee. So I'm sure Vicki will drop the RSV link into the chat and we do hope that you will join us. May is National Foster Care Month, and this is a time to recognize where we can each play a role in enhancing the lives of students who experience foster care. So Mesa College, through our EOPS and Fast Scholars program, is offering a series of workshops and this month, and they encourage all of this Mesa community to either donate to Fast Scholars, to attend an event, or to follow them on their Instagram page. And I'm sure somebody can drop that in the chat as well. Mesa College is indeed celebrating our graduates in a variety of ways, so be sure to check out our Mesa Community Celebrations page for a list of our year-end celebrations. And so this includes our rite of passage ceremony for Black graduates, as Dr. O'Connor mentioned, physical therapy, EOPS, Rasa grad, dental assisting, just a lot to celebrate, and it's all captured in one space. All of this will culminate with the Mesa's virtual commencement ceremony on Friday, May 28th at 3 p.m. And then our commencement graduation parade that President Lester mentioned on June 4th at 11 a.m. And so we'll be sure to drop that information in the chat as well. And you all will be hearing more information about how you can participate in that. Today is Tuesday, which means it's Transfer Tuesday. So there's a lot of information in the Transfer Center email that just came out. So please be sure to check it out. It comes from Ann Hedekin in the Transfer Center. This is a very exciting time for many of our students who are in the process of transferring, and an uncertain time for others who still need to explore additional options. So please read through the newsletter so that you'll know how to support, refer, and just really encourage our students during this time. We'd like to remind you that we have a food distribution next Thursday. This is a great opportunity for you to encourage students to attend and for you to volunteer. And the last two things, our district is currently accepting applications for the San Diego Promise Program for the class of 2021. Applications are due June 11th. And our monthly student services update was shared with the Mesa College DL yesterday. So be sure to check us out for a glimpse of the amazing work that is being done in our areas to create the conditions that matter for our students to succeed. Thanks, Pam.
Thank you as well, Ashanti. And if you do have information, I see people are posting right now in the chat. If you have resources for your colleagues or for students that you'd like to share, feel free to post them right in the chat. So thank you for that. So we are going to move on now, and I'll ask Blythe Barton if she would rejoin us on screen. And Blythe, I am going to turn the next part of this over to you to talk about our digital dance concert.
Thank you so much, President Lester, for allowing us to share just a little bit of what dance has accomplished this semester, especially during such a vibrant conversation regarding Propelled by Protest. I'm just honored to be here today. Dance is such a physical practice that really forms close-knit communities of students and performers. And we were able to transform that community into the online sphere. Together, we worked to step outside of the boundaries of the theater and the studio that we know so well, shifting the artistic intention onto the screen. It was totally a team effort of students' passionate performances and faculty choreographers being innovative with movement ideas. Today, we prepared just a short video starting off with Professor Donna Flournoy. And then a couple of our students get to share their experiences with the digital concert. Thank you, Dr. O'Connor, for the shout out too. It was a pleasure to present over the weekend. Then we have a fun little promo of the concert. So let's push play if we can and take a look. And I will also put the link for you to see the full concert in the chat there.
Hi everyone, my name is Donna and I'm excited to share what dance has accomplished this semester. First and foremost, I'd be remiss not to mention the hard work that our dance faculty members have shown our students, sharing their creative visions, not only in the classroom, but in our digital program. Together, we've been able to plan and provide and engage our students in a sense of community while dancing alone, yet dancing together. On May 8th, we launched our second digital concert. And wow, what an exciting process it has been as we've moved from stage production to a digital platform. Next, I'd like to invite two of our students and also invite Blythe to share a little bit about the nuts and bolts on how we were able to accomplish this. Our first student is Carmina Vasquez, and second will be Alejandro Barajas. Carmina, share your journey with us.
Hi, my name is Carmina Vasquez, and I'm a proud Mesa College dancer and alumni. I completed my transfer studies and took my first dance class at Mesa 20 years ago. Little did I know then, I was beginning one of the greatest love affairs in my life with the Mesa College Dance Department. Over the years, I've been fortunate to be able to drop in and take class for a semester and even perform. Each of these experiences have been very special and memorable for me. Over this past year, I found myself working from home during the pandemic, feeling very isolated, lost, and unsure of the world around me. Once again, Mesa College Dance was there to fill a void, allowing me to sign up for class and connect with others virtually, to move my body again, which was so important for my physical and mental well-being. I also was able to sign up to perform in the Mesa College 2021 virtual dance concert. I'm so proud of this work and everyone involved to make it happen. I hope you enjoy the show as much as we enjoy putting it together for you. Thank you, Mesa College Dance, and thank you, Mesa College, for allowing community members like myself to enroll in class, to continue to learn and fulfill passions like dance. Dance is such a gift that I will forever be grateful for.
Hello, my name is Alejandro Barajas, and I would like to say thank you for allowing me some time to share my experience with the Mesa Dance Department. And I would just like to share my immense gratitude for the faculty with Mesa Dance. Before coming to Mesa and declaring myself as a finance major, I was a United States Marine, and I had a lot of opportunity to work with a lot of different groups of leaders and leadership structures. And what I found here at Mesa is like nothing else. As I began to explore dance within the San Diego community, I also began to learn just how special this corner of dance was here at Mesa. All of the faculty members are incredibly engaged in the community and are really, really selfless in the way that they promote their students and in the way that they encourage students to hone in on their craft and on their art. It's been a great privilege to be here with them, and I hope to be able to continue to learn from the amazing faculty here at Mesa Dance. So thank you, Mesa Dance, and thank you all for allowing me some time to share.
As you can see, we have some pretty incredible student dancers. Creating this dance concert has been an extraordinary process. Starting with rehearsals over Zoom and online videos, choreographers were able to teach complex movement to their dancers. And then we got to go into Balboa Park to record the footage. Now, this only happened with explicit permission from our leadership at Mesa. We took all safety precautions into consideration while meeting with students live in the park. We wore personal protection equipment, we maintained distance, we did a COVID health screening with each student before connecting with their choreographers. With these precautions, we felt really confident about capturing movement on film that would then be turned into video dance art. Now, video editing allows a lot more manipulation of dance content than we can usually get in the live theater. We can play with location, we can play with framing, we can play with time, and audiences can view this concert on YouTube, another benefit of digital distribution. More importantly than the artistic innovations, this concert created a community of dancers, a community of movers and performers, something that's been really challenging to accomplish in the pandemic. Our dancers came together to learn content electronically, but then perform with one another. And now we can share this digital production with the Mesa community, with the entire world, because the digital concert is available for everyone. It's a YouTube link, and now anyone, anytime can view the talent and incredible resilience of our Mesa dancers. We hope you'll take a moment to watch this concert and appreciate the versatility and passionate performances. In the meantime, here's a quick sneak peek preview.
Blythe, thank you so much to you and Donna for your leadership and for this awesome opportunity to see just a snippet of the concert. And while I wasn't able to be there Saturday night, I've started watching it in segments at home in between meetings. It's simply stunning to know that the students have not been practicing in some studio together this whole time, but learning this in this mode and then being able to perform this movement together is really just beautiful. So congratulations. And we look forward to more as we come back in the fall semester.
Yes, thank you so much. That's the beauty of electronics, right? Is you can watch it in 3-minute chunks. So thank you so much for the opportunity to share, and we're gonna do more, we're gonna make more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Blythe. It also allows you to share with family, which I normally do even in person, but it's really nice to be able to do that too, especially with sometimes limited attention spans. So nice for the younger people in your life. But thank you, Blythe, and thank you to Donna as well. Beautifully done. Thank you so much. And check the chat because wow, lots there. So, all right. Well, we are now going to turn to our main presentation today. And I'd like to introduce Dr. Veronica Girati. And so Veronica, if you want to come on screen, and I will thank you for your leadership in this. I will also say this is one of the most comfortable Mesa College t-shirts I own, and I wear it often, you know, outside the house, wherever I'm going. And the thing that I love about it is people ask me about it, and I am more than happy to tell them that Mesa College stands for the work that we do and the work that you've done are propelled by protest. So Veronica, And to all of our guests who will introduce themselves along the way, congratulations on this incredible series and work that you've done this year, and we look forward to hearing more.
Thank you, Dr. Lester. We just genuinely appreciate the opportunity to share about the hard work that we've been doing. As many people know, just over the last few years, people of color have felt traumatized, and in particularly last year, so many people felt traumatized and just felt, witnessing the death of George Floyd, regardless of your color, your background, was just very traumatizing. And so we're very proud that our students participated in protests. Some maybe didn't feel comfortable participating in protests, but all of us knew that we wanted to do something. It was a strong call to action for people. And so with students reaching out to us, some of us faculty at Mesa came together and we said, we want to help our students in different ways, and we know that we can do something now. And so we felt we could work together to capitalize on empowering our students. We didn't have all the details worked out, but we were all very committed and very dedicated. And so we'd like to share with you today about this initiative that we started that we call Propelled by Protests. And we believe it's really important that everyone understand that we weren't pushing students or advocating or trying to teach students to protest. We just felt it's very important for everyone to understand that protesting is important. It gets our voices heard. But to go beyond that, to have a permanent voice, means to be active, to be educated, to learn about how to be involved citizens in our communities. And so that was our main goal. So today we hope to tell you a little bit more about our efforts, who's involved. You'll definitely hear from some just wonderful, wonderful student voices that have just really empowered us and really propelled us and encouraged us to keep moving forward with our efforts. And we'll talk about some of the student sessions that were held. We were fortunate that one of the speakers during one of these sessions, Attorney Michelle Woodson, is here to join us. And we'll talk about the faculty work, our efforts to make an impact in the classroom. And then just all of the wonderful support that we've had with this effort. So our leadership team in coordinating things, scheduling meetings, working with our communications department to work on the PR has been myself, Dr. Judy Sandayo, Dr. Ediama Onwechekwa, and Professor Michael Temple. I just want to thank them tremendously. This would not have been possible without the late night text messages and 2 a.m, helping one another feel that it's going to be okay, it will work out, what's our plan B, that type of thing. And just, we have so many wonderful students at Mesa. I have just felt so empowered again and just warmed by our students who are just so committed to and they're just going to do wonderful things in the world. These discussions that we held for the students were student facilitated. And we're just fortunate to have Princetta Ritas as one of the student facilitators, Tyrell Williams, and Kevin Blocker. And I just have again felt so moved by them because they're students who work full-time and go to school full-time. And so just to say, I want to do more. I want to ensure that other students feel supported and have a voice has been very, very wonderful. And so to these students in particular, we say thank you for your efforts and for being a part of this initiative. At this point, I'd like to turn things over to Dr. Judy Sandayo.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gerase. My name is Dr. Judy Sandayo. I'm chairing the Committee for Diversity, Action, Inclusion, and Equity at Mesa College, which is a co-sponsor of the Propelled by Protest series. So I'm so very honored to have been a part of this series because I saw that it provided our students with spaces so that they could share their reactions to all the racial injustice they were seeing on television. They could listen to other students and their feelings and reactions, and they could learn ways that they could support racial justice efforts and strategies in our local community and nationwide. This series has also provided opportunities for our faculty to come together and respond with equitable practices in their classrooms. So as Dr. Gerasi said, this whole idea behind the Propelled by Protest series was initiated after this horrendous year of 2020. As we all know, 2020 has been devastating on several levels. The biggest probably is the pandemic, which is the worst in our lifetimes. And then in concert with people being home and I think watching more television and also filming more, we were able to see more incidents of police brutality and violence, more so than ever before in our nation's history. And of course, one of the most pivotal of those incidents was with the death of George Floyd. And I wanted to say that it didn't start with him. There have been many different other deaths of Black men and women. In fact, in the first 8 months of 2020, there were 164 killings of Black men and women by police. There was one of the first ones in January was a young man by the name of William Howard Green Jr., he was sleeping in his car and he was taken by police and handcuffed and seated in a police cruiser. And then within minutes, he was shot 7 times by police sitting handcuffed in a police cruiser. Now, you and I didn't see that on videotape. We didn't hear about it. Most of us didn't hear about it. But what happened to George Floyd, we all saw, the world saw. And it shocked us to see this man suffering an agonizing and painful suffocation for almost 9 minutes at the hands of a police officer, and having his repeated cries and pleas for breath ignored. And we watched his demise virtually. So this blatant and certainly a merciless abuse of power really horrified our nation and the world. So the death of George Floyd is really what sparked the majority of the protests that we saw last summer, because George was killed on May 25th. And then last summer, we saw multiple protests across the nation. And a lot of it was, of course, given impetus by the Black Lives Matter movement, which is very much needed to draw attention to the violence that has been perpetrated against Black people. So in the summer of 2020, many Mesa College students, faculty, and staff actually were participants in peaceful protests as an active expression of their outrage against this violence, and also their support and solidarity for racial justice. So after these protests subsided, students were still in that momentum. Many of our students were experiencing what, as a psychologist, I would call post-traumatic symptoms, but in fact, I think they're more likely to be called continued trauma, because all of the murders and the lynchings and the violence against Blacks did not stop with the murder of George Floyd. In fact, they continued, and in some cases intensified. And many students reported feeling hypervigilant because they saw and felt like a clear and present danger, just facing everyday living, just living while Black. They felt more anxious. So the Propelled by Protest series really provided students a way to deal positively with their feelings of anger, feelings of frustration, depression, anxiety, and a sense of hopelessness. These are just some of the feelings that I heard students of all races and ethnicities express during the very first meeting in the series. So students voiced their appreciation for having a space to share with others. They said that it helped them to feel as if they were not alone. So that, I think, has been one of the main benefits of the series. And a secondary benefit has been the ability for students to take all of that, and faculty and staff to take all of that pent up post-protest anger and energy and put it towards learning positive strategies for social justice. And that included the importance of voting, understanding one's rights and responsibilities when interacting with law enforcement, learning what are our local contacts for social justice, learning about the resources that are available to help us, and learning how to become more active and responsible citizens of this community, which of course is one of our student learning outcomes at our college. So one student shared with me and with the group that he didn't know what to do with all the rage he felt based on what had happened last summer, until he came to the Propelled by Protest series. Another student shared that she had never voted before, ever. But because of Propelled by Protest, she understood the importance of being a participant in the democratic process. And she voted for the very first time last year. So I want to thank all of the students who coordinated and participated in this fantastic series, as well as Dr. Veronica Gerase for her leadership and coordination of the series, as well as Dr. Idioma Onwuchekwa and Professor Michael Temple for their planning efforts in helping our students propel themselves into these positive spaces for social justice. So Mesa College, let's keep it going. Thank you.
Now we would like to introduce one of our wonderful student facilitators, Kevin Blocker.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Blocker. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I was in the Marine Corps from late 2015 to January 2020. And that's the August of 2020 is when I started my journey here at Mesa College. My experience being a Black student here at Mesa has been, honestly, absolutely amazing. Just kind of figuring out how to navigate my academic journey, and all of the faculty members that I've had the pleasure of speaking with have been absolutely amazing and helped me with any kind of question I needed answered and stuff like that. When all of this started happening, and the reason why I got involved in Propelled by Protest after the recent events of the death of George Floyd, as well as kind of learning about a lot more about police brutality and just the nervousness that kind of I felt whenever I would get pulled over and things like that. I felt that it was important to become a part of a group of people who celebrated change and wanted our cultural environment to shift toward an area of inclusivity, and more so, toward an area of us wanting to, just coexist with everyone else and be treated fairly. I'm just very, very grateful to be a part of this amazing group of people, and throughout the series, learning about my rights as a human being, as well as my rights about just getting pulled over and how to deal with certain things like that. it's just, I've taken a lot of that stuff to heart, and I've learned from, multitudes of different, professors, as well as special guests that we've had. And I'm just forever thankful for that. So thank you guys for having me.
All right, Kevin, thank you. So this past semester, we were very fortunate to have many different topics covered in a very short period of time. And one of those topics was Know Your Rights. And we were very fortunate to have the person I'm going to introduce as our guest speaker. Her name is Michelle Woodson, and she is the staff attorney at Think Dignity. She is their homeless youth legal advocacy person. And we connected with Michelle from the Pillars program from Southeast San Diego. She is a board member of the Pillars community. And she presented the Know Your Rights project, or Know Your Rights campaign for us. And she provided us with a great deal of information. And so she's with us today to give a few words. And I'll allow her to go ahead and reintroduce herself.
Thank you so much for the introduction. As Michael mentioned, my name is Michelle Woodson. I'm the executive director and managing attorney for a local nonprofit here in San Diego. And I'm a criminal defense attorney by trade. So much of my work is really in the criminal justice space. I heard so many folks talking earlier about the summer of 2020 and how impactful it was for our country and really the nation as a whole. When I talk about that summer, I really talk about it as it was the perfect storm, right? For people to get a better understanding of what this country has looked like for so many people, in particular the Black community, right? That because of the pandemic, we were forced to sit still. We were forced to reckon with the racism that is inherent in policing in the United States, right? And it really moved people. It forced people to decide what side they were going to stand on, and whether or not they wanted to demand more of our country for our people. And so I do this work, and I remember that summer very clearly. And just 2 years prior to that, I, as well as a group of community members who were invested in, reforming and really dismantling the criminal justice system, we formed a community bail fund. It's called the D.D. McClure Community Bail Fund. And the intent of creating this was so that we could bail out protesters who were protesting these kinds of injustices. So of course, during the summer of last year, we really rallied to get people to support our bail fund. We collected almost $1 million in donations so quickly because people were so moved by people that were protesting and really wanted to do something outside of themselves. And so it was really powerful. It was a powerful summer to see, the streets filled with thousands and thousands of people worldwide every single day. And we really galvanized to make sure that these protesters were bailed out of jail and that we were ensuring that they were connected with attorneys who would represent them in their cases. I can tell you the work was grinding, but it was so fulfilling. We left our phone lines open all night long. And I can tell you many of the shifts that I worked to make sure that bail fund was manned all night were racist people just calling to jam up our phone lines, trying to make sure that other folks that were getting arrested for protests weren't getting bailed out. But it was a powerful experience, right? And this is why it's so important that we understand the power in the people to make movements, to make change, right? If you look historically on when movements have been built, it has been on the backs of the people who have been compelled to move, to do something, to call light to injustice. If I can share a quick story, I am also the founding member of an organization called Free SD. It utilizes the approach of participatory defense as a community organizing model that aims to empower people facing charges and their families so that we can transform the landscape of power in the courtrooms. I often say that injustice happens in empty courtrooms, right? When people don't show up for our loved ones, when people don't show up for the communities, because people get entrenched in the criminal justice system and they don't know how to navigate through it. So this particular group, we meet once a week with families that have been impacted by the criminal justice system so that we can inform them of the process. So we can tell them, break down legal jargon. We can tell them what to expect at all of their court dates. We can tell them how to prepare for them, how to get the community involved, how to show up for the community, how to speak to attorneys, recognizing that the attorney your public defender works for you, and how do you make sure that they are doing their due diligence and representing you in the best way that they should. If I can give you a quick story, we had a young woman come in who was being charged with robbery for when she wasn't even present at the alleged robbery. She was very scared. She actually was afraid that she was working at a daycare at the time. So she was really afraid that she was going to lose her job and her license because now she had a felony and a violent felony that was looming against her. We started to inform her of the process, telling her how to prepare. And every week she would come back and she would let us know that the district attorney was trying to offer her different plea deals. And what the system does is it tries to break you down, right? And so we told her to remain strong. We, kept telling her, informing her of the process. And if she didn't do anything wrong, that it was important to fight this. She kept coming back and forth. And every week you could tell that she felt more empowered in the process until finally the district attorney, tried to reduce it down to a misdemeanor and actually told her, pick any misdemeanor you want. It could be disturbing the peace. It doesn't even have to be a violent one. It doesn't even have to be directly related to the alleged crime. And she told that district attorney that no, she wasn't going to take that. Eventually, the charges were completely dropped because there was no way that they could even prove this case against her. And that's the impact of getting yourself empowered with knowledge of your constitutional rights, knowledge of the system, knowledge of how to participate in it. And really, it's incredible to see the work that's been done in this particular people, that we've seen mothers come in who are defending their young sons in their cases. And at first they come in crying, not understanding the process, but they leave more empowered every single time. And you can see it. You can visually see it. And now those same mothers go to the courtrooms and support other mothers, other family members, and they now empower them. And that's capacity building, right? That's people power. That is building up our communities to take care and heal one another. We talked about the George Floyd, case and the verdict. Just that the Monday prior to the verdict in the Derek Chauvin case, I spoke at a press conference for a case that was settled between like MTS and a young man who was killed in the very same way that George Floyd was. And so these things happen in our own communities, right? And I just want to leave you with a couple of notes. I can be the first to admit that I've been too ashamed to share so much of my story and my personal journey because my family had been entrenched in the criminal justice system. I didn't want to be too loud or too emotional or too bold. I didn't want to take up too much space or be too assertive. But I've grown more comfortable in centering my values and taking ownership of my story. So I place value in my successes. And I now take power in knowing that I deserve to be in these spaces and that it's my personal experiences of these very issues that make me a perfectly passionate advocate. So people often ask me how to get involved in their communities and how to be a good advocate and activist. And to this question, I tell you all this, to take a moment to look around. And the next time you witness an injustice, the next time you see a gap that isn't being filled, And the next time that you are in a room and there is no one there that looks like you or understands that deep pain the way that you do, the next time you don't hear anyone speaking up, that you need to be that person. Be that person to move towards change, because you too add value and deserve to be in those spaces. Because it's been said that there are three kinds of people in this world: those that are immovable, those that are movable, and those that move. So I encourage you to be someone that moves. Yes, you cry, you get outraged, you be angry, but then you move, you show up, you take action, you demand more, you just move. So take that grief and that rage and use it as fuel towards visions of a better world. Embrace the uncertainty in your successes and be hopeful that at the very least it will spark the passion to fulfill, and you will feel fulfilled by your purpose. So thank you so much for including me in this and these important conversations. And I really encourage you to find ways to be active in your community. And it is more, continue to fight for justice, continue to heal our communities. And I promise that you'll continue to feel fulfilled by purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Michelle. Thank you very much, Michelle Woodson. Your words are powerful and strong. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Ediama Onwuchakwa, and I'm the Equity and Engagement Librarian here in Mesa College. I just want to say very quickly that while we facilitated the sessions with the students, we also felt it was very important to have an engaging time with faculty. And so we thought about working around best practices in developing and delivering an intentional equity-minded assignment and having an effective faculty interactive session. This Flex series was actually created to encourage myself faculty to think about creating best practices in the classroom. And this was more about going beyond speaking and interacting with students, but looking for faculty collaborators. And I must say we had a great time connecting with the faculty who reached out to us. And together we worked with the participants to develop a foundation for creating assignments and projects that enable the students express themselves and transform the expressions of protest and frustrations to tangible and real change. A lot of times we actually shared a lot of resources surrounding books and links to resources that were very helpful. Some of the resources we shared together were, I'll give you an example, a textbook. One of the books we looked through was about confronting equity issues on campus, implementing equity scorecard in theory and in practice. And this was an eye-opener to a lot of us. Another book that as a librarian I'd like to share with you that we looked through was this very wonderful book, which the title is From Equity Talk to Equity Work, Expanding the Practitioner's Knowledge for Racial Justice in Higher Education. And I must say, during these sessions, we dialogued about personal and professional experiences related to racial and other injustices. We looked through course assignments, possible interactions with students, and we emphasized on different ways as faculty to promote student success. The overarching purpose of our session was actually to facilitate the development and refinement of course assignments. And some of the things that we did was to look into criteria and rubrics for developing an intentionally and equity-minded assignments. So we went through some equity audits and looked towards developing a strategy to working towards equity in the classroom. I just want to say that we're very grateful to administrators and our sponsors. We're very grateful to have the support and sponsorship of Dr. Pamela Luster, our college president, Dr. Isabel O'Connor, Vice President of Instruction, Dr. Ashanti Hans, Vice President of Student Services, and Lawrence Legaspi, Vice President of Visa Services. And we also had sponsors from the Student Affairs, the Black Studies Department, the Committee for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion and Committee for Diversity, Action, Inclusion, and Equity, and the Success, Equity, and Transformation Committee. We also worked and had a lot of contributions from our Black faculty counselors, collaborative, and the Black Students Union and the Umoja team. So we want to say thank you very much for this opportunity. And this is still work in progress. We will be reaching out to other faculty, and we're hoping to work with other faculty in the future to develop other best practices towards being intentional and promoting student success. Thank you.
Next, we'd like to hear directly from a faculty member who is willing to try to make a difference in her classroom. So I'd like to introduce Professor Hannah Padilla-Barajas.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. So I teach Spanish in the languages department, and I decided to join this equity-focused assignment group because I wanted to look at what I require of my students through an equity lens. And I decided to create a film project on social justice issues experienced by Latinos and or Hispanic community, because film, in addition to being fun and engaging, a fun and engaging art form, is also a very powerful tool used to educate and inspire. So in this assignment, all of my students were required to view a feature-length film or 2-3 episodes of a series that focuses on the lives and experiences of Latinos and or Hispanics and issues such as racism, Indigenous rights, the environment, poverty, immigration, disabilities, and LGBTQ rights, to name just a few. I provided them various options in Spanish and English, and the students were also free to find a film on their own as long as it focused on a social justice issue experienced by Latinos and or Hispanics. So after the students viewed their films, each one created a video where they provided a summary and shared what they learned about the social justice issue present and how it is experienced in the Latino and or Hispanic community featured in the film. Each student explained how they personally related to the issues in the film and how viewing this film may have changed or challenged their beliefs about Latino and or Hispanic culture and or the justice issues present. Additionally, they included 2 detailed steps they can take to be active in helping to bring about positive change in regards to social justice. Then each student uploaded their video to the class Padlet and were required to view and comment on 2 other classmates' videos. So this assignment connects to equity because it focuses on the experiences of marginalized and oppressed groups. It also centers my students' lives and voices because they were free to select a topic of interest. They related and connected their personal lives to the content of the films, and they participated in meaningful conversations with their peers. Lastly, the students were empowered to move beyond learning and thinking about social justice issues to planning concrete steps to take in order to bring about positive change. So I want to end my little thing here by saying that I am so very proud of the work they did, the learning about social justice, the self-reflection, the action steps they created, and their participation in the dialogue with their peers. And I have 2 students here today who will share their experience with this assignment. We will begin with Tika Lee Smith, and then we will continue with Natasha Rabari. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Tika Lee Smith, and the film that I chose for this assignment was Negra. And I chose the film because I wanted to support the Latin Film Festival that the film was shown in. And also the film reminded me of a title of a short story that we read in this class. The film followed 5 women of color who lived in Mexico, and their experience as being a Black or a person of color living in Mexico and the discrimination that they experienced. This project furthered my interest even more in wanting to speak another language. And also, it makes me want to be a voice for not only my current community, but for communities all in different parts of the world. It sparked my interest because I am a person of color, and my experience living in the United States is probably different from people in other parts of the world. And I was also born in Jamaica, so that experience that I had there was different from the one I know here as well. So this project kind of opened my mind to different perspectives. And I believe that the project is super important and it should be more common because it broadens perspective of other students on topics that may be unfamiliar, or it also can inspire students to make small changes which can make significant impact, positive impact on the world and the society that we live in. And I think that if more students are exposed to these type of topics, then we could start conversations. And I think, Michelle, your speech, what you said was so amazing. And you said capacity building. And I think that that is another thing that these projects can help other students do. After reading or watching other students' videos and their opinions, it allowed like a space to be able to have these conversations freely, but also learning from each other. So I think this project was very important in terms of just open and broadening my perspective. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Natasha Abari. I really learned a lot during this project that we completed in our Spanish 201 class. I watched the movie Even the Rain, which is about a film crew that is shooting a movie about Christopher Columbus's arrival in South America and the way that he mistreated the indigenous people. They chose to film this movie in Bolivia because they were able to hire locally for very low wages. And the crew ended up right in the middle of an ethical situation in which the government was trying to inflate the prices of water to where the locals would not be able to afford it. It is ironic that they're filming this movie about the mistreatment of local indigenous people from hundreds of years prior, yet it appears that not much has changed. Watching this movie with a social justice lens for this project opened my eyes to the deeper elements behind the plot. I had no idea that even still today, indigenous people in Latin America are treated so differently from the more European-looking population, though they really all share the same nationality. I also had not realized how unfair the wages were compared to the utilities and the cost of living in certain countries, and how easy it is for the government to inflate these prices to beyond what they could afford. Since this project, I was able to research and learn about an organization that is fighting for fair and equitable wages in Bolivia, called the Unified Sindical Confederation of Rural Workers of Bolivia. So they're working towards fighting for the underrepresented population and the indigenous people. And so I hope to be able to support them. I also was able to reflect back on my own travel experiences with this project. And something that came to mind when learning about the extremely low wages is the custom of haggling in other countries. I always had heard that haggling when shopping around the world is totally normal and acceptable, and that prices are actually marked up for tourists so that you're supposed to haggle. But that being said, when I think about how little some of these people make, I feel like negotiating on that last 50 cents or $1 that may not seem like much to me could mean a lot more to the seller, like whether they have more food for their children or a roof over their head or money for the water bills, etc. So this is just like a small aspect that this project really changed my perception on, and will definitely change my travel experiences moving forward. This project also brought to mind my future career goals. I'm an English major, and one of my dreams is to get my certification to be able to teach English as a second language in another country. So I'm hoping to find a way to work with or help the marginalized and indigenous people while in my field and doing this. Overall, this project really opened my eyes to the racism and classism that still persists everywhere. I would recommend this project to future classes, as there are so many human rights issues around the world that we may not know about and that we all should be more aware of. And being able to learn about them through a movie project was a really unique way to do so. This project really taught me a lot and inspired me to work towards change. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Barajas. I'm sorry, Barajas, and your students is really wonderful. We really appreciate it. We had so many faculty who were interested, and again, it's a work in progress. So next I'd like to introduce another professor. But as we're transitioning, in the link, I'm going to post a link of a professor who couldn't join us today, but she felt compelled to record something to share with you why she wanted to be a part of this to try to develop equity-minded assignments. So at this point, I'll turn things over to Professor Gallardo.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sakina Gallardo, and I teach in the School of Communications. I was motivated to be a part of the Equity-Minded Assignment Work Group because I wanted to see what other faculty were doing in their classrooms to continue to work toward equity and to share what I was doing as well. I think it's so important to support one another and encourage each other as we move toward equity, and also to move outside of our comfort zone so that we can branch out in our classrooms. The assignment I chose was an informative speech. In the communication department, our students complete at least 4 speeches, and this was just one of them. The assignment entails a group of 2 or 3 students that will research a topic and then present the information. These students are placed into groups by me. I didn't want the students to choose their partners because I wanted them to be a part of a group that they wouldn't have normally been a part of without a nudge from me. Their groups were really diverse. I wanted to place the students with a partner whose gender, identity, ethnicity, and race was different from their own. Once placed in this group, the students had class time to do a meet and greet with one another. The meat of this assignment is for the students to research a culture or co-culture that is unique and different from their own. The assignment asks them to explore the importance and the effects of intercultural communication in our world today in a format of an informative speech. The ability to communicate and interact with different cultures is extremely important. Currently, due to the internet and our current political climate and the cultural makeup of America, it's seemingly more and more important to appreciate those differences. Students could choose a culture or a co-culture, a marginalized group, or a country that they both wanted to travel to or learn more about. I gave examples of some co-cultures that they can focus identity on, such as the ballroom or drag culture, where young LGBT would go and display fashion or dance so they can work on a group of sensibility of self, hip hop culture, the deaf culture, or even surfers. It's not our differences that divides us. It is our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences, as said by Audre Lorde. This assignment keeps equity at its core. There is no cost to this assignment. All research can be done using Mesa's online library. The impact of the assignment, I feel, is far-reaching. This assignment allows students to ask questions of their community members, such as their classmates. It opens the world for them, and it helps them see the beauty that is far different from things that they see every day. The beauty of Mazatlan, the beauty of Nairobi, Russia, the underworld of the Yakuza in Japan, Katherine Johnson, an African-American mathematician that made it possible for man to reach the stars, the beauty of a rah-rah woman who runs marathons in sandals. And these are just some of the stories that allows our classrooms to connect. Although I didn't want them to research their own culture, however, they're able to bring light to possibly another classmate's culture. And that is the beauty of this assignment. I have 2 students here that are going to talk about their experience and their journey with this assignment as well. The first student I have is Jennifer Tran.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Tran, and I'm a freshman at Mesa. I major in business, and so far my experience at Mesa has been very wonderful. I have wonderful professors just like Miss G, and I personally chose Miss G because I wanted to work on my communication skills because I want to grow up to be a real estate agent, and that has to deal with like talking to strangers and building up your social skills. And for my informative partner speech, I personally challenged myself to do it alone on my Mexican culture. And I learned about the sports, traditions, and the music as well. And it was very beneficial for the students and for this assignment as well to learn more about how many cultures there are, whether you're not interested. There's so many cultures out there that you can learn more about. And it's so easy as if like a research project. And it was very equitable for all of the students. I feel like all the students did really well because they choose their own culture that they may not know about. And our professor gave us an opportunity to have our resources on the Mesa Library, which she went throughout steps to find the resources and to look up them as well. So all of it was also free, which is beneficial for students that aren't financially ready, which was a great project because all of the students were able to do this project. And I really do appreciate everyone's time and listening to me, and my beautiful teacher for always helping me and giving me extra time as well. Because with the opportunity of Zoom, we always make meetings and we always meet up on her time or whenever I have time as well, which is great. And I cannot wait to go back on campus and meet her in person. Thank you.
So sweet. Thank you so much, Jenny. I appreciate it. And then I have one more student, Ms. Kana Lowe. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kana Lowe. I have been attending Mesa since the fall semester this year. It's my first year here, and I actually like my experience. Even though it's online, it's nice to have a teacher that looks like me. So that's one of the plus sides. And although she is my first African-American teacher in 2 semesters, sadly, I really appreciate that this representation means so much to me. And the fact that she's teaching a class that means a lot to me. I use public speaking because I want to improve my stage presence and my speaking confidence. So she really helps with that. This recent project, this cultural project, was very eye-opening. I and my partner did our project on the Japan culture. And although I was stationed in Japan for 2 years, it was nothing like actually focusing my energy to learning about this culture. And it just goes to show that even though you live amongst the people, doesn't mean that you know much about them. So it's important, it's very imperative to open your eyes and actually see what's in front of you and to be open to all the things and the differences around you. So that's one of the biggest takeaways that I got from this project. And I really appreciate the staff and students for being so open. And the education plan was very easy to follow. She makes it very easy to understand and very accessible. So I really appreciate the class. I appreciate the staff, and thanks for listening.
Thank you, Kana.
Okay, so I would like to introduce one more of our student. It is, her name is Miriam Tikal.
Hello. Yes, my name is Miriam, Miriam Alazim. I am immigrant from Ethiopia. I am so grateful that San Diego Mesa College gave me opportunity to be where I am today. I'm a health communication major and transferred San Diego State University for the next fall. My experience as the immigrant Black student in Mesa College has been a great opportunity. I really thank you, my professor, Dr. Grace. She is an amazing structure that she lead me as such in a good way. And our education and in my class and I'm taking two communication class and her, and then the education what she's teaching us was a lot of opportunity. I learned a lot from her class, and she will every time and then I have a question, she email immediately, and then the opportunity she giving every student very clear and helping even though after class anytime what we need help. And then I'm so happy that I have a chance to have a voice say today. Thank you San Diego Mesa College. Thank you all professors, what they are a mentor for me. And then here I am at the immigrant Black student with a good grade and transferring in a university. Thank you.
All right, that was a very powerful presentation given by our students and our faculty members. And we also would like to thank our community partner, Michele, for being here with us today. And again, thank you to our administrators, Pam Luster, Ashanti Hands, Isabel O'Connor, Lorenz. Without your support, a lot of this would not be possible to make happen. And thank you to all the committee members as well. Dr. Judy Sandayo, Idiyama, and Veronica Gerasi are actually the backbone of this thing. They are the ones who have been pushing this agenda. So please be on the lookout for more events and activities coming up from Propelled by Protest. And I think the more support we receive, the better off we're going to be able to continue to push equity. And so I would like to move this, actually I'd like to pass this on to Dr. O'Connor so she can close us out.
Well, thank you, Michael. Wow, what a presentation. I think we can all agree it was not just engaging, moving, it was really powerful. And what really resonates for me, it's not only the great work of our amazing faculty leadership, Michael's, Judy, Adiyama, and Veronica, as well as our amazing students, Princetta, Tyrell, Kevin, and Miriam. This was amazing, but what really resonates, it's the best and the greatest combination of what we are all about. It's learning, but learning doesn't just happen in the classroom, it also happens in real life. And when we are called to combat injustice, then we rise to that challenge. And that's exactly what we see here. Our students becoming student leaders. This is a great case of civic engagement, moving us forward for a better, more just society. And also from my perspective, as I see my role as Vice President of Instruction, I am really interested and committed to supporting not only the engagement of the students, but particularly the fantastic testimonials that we saw of faculty members redesigning their assignments through an equity lens and the impact and the meaning that it had in their students. I'm willing and happy with this intentionality to support us moving forward with maybe faculty inquiry groups, also expanding it to other disciplines. I was very happy to see math, for example, involved in this project. So, and also don't forget, we have other fantastic opportunities like the Curriculum Equity and Excellence Institute that we are launching this summer, as well as the Equity Institute in the fall. We're intentional, we're committed, but once again, thank you so much. Amazing presentation and all the great work that was behind it.
Thank you so much to all of you for the work that you've done this year. And just to our students, to our faculty, if you all want to come back on camera, that would be awesome. We would love to see all of your faces again. If you can, if you can't, that's cool too. But if you get a chance to come back on camera, it's really remarkable. When you think about, about 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks in the future to this time last year, and you think about the murder of George Floyd, that was May 25th, right? Like a year ago. And so when you think about that, and you think about the trauma and all of the kinds of things that have happened with the deaths of others, and just the violence that has happened around particularly Black bodies, Black and brown bodies, and that continues to happen, that you all came together and used your agency and your voice as part of your education at Mesa, or as a student, or as part of the love that you bring as a faculty member to this, you came together and created this incredible and intentional opportunity for our students. And it is only, in my humble opinion, through learning that we are going to be able to continue to change that the arc of the moral universe, right? It's only through the teaching and the loving and the learning that we're going to continue to be able to do this. And so for all of the students that are here today, and for all of the faculty who impacted not just the students that are here today, but the ones that are in your classes, they go home and talk to their families. They go home and talk to their friends. They talk to other people in other classes, and that seed is planted and planted again, that justice is the work of what we do as educators. And so I want to thank the faculty for leading this. I know, Michael, you said they're the backbone, but you're the backbone of a lot of things as well. So, giving you props for the work that you do with our Emoja program. But to those of you who come to this work in the way that you do it, I'm just so grateful for you. For our students, just thank you so much. Michele, if I can call you that, thank you so much for being involved in this. Your voice, like I was kind of ugly crying while you were talking. I mean, it's really remarkable. So thank you for partnering with us and having your experience be able to blend with the experiences that our students get to have. And that will put them out into the community and serving just in the ways that you do as well. So I apologize for looking down and looking at your faces instead of my camera. But I just want to say this has, been a remarkable experience this year. I know that it will continue to grow into the way that it's meant to, right? Whatever this next period of time looks like and whatever we need to do, we have the partnership of so many people on campus now that are thinking about this work. It's really, it's embedded in who we are. And so again, I just want to say thank you, really with a lot of gratitude on behalf of our institution. And, we will continue to support in all the ways that we can. So bravo, bravo. And so for those of you, I hope you're looking in chat. Yes, I hope you're looking in chat because so many wonderful comments have been made about this work. I would like to stop. We do have a couple of minutes, not a lot, but I didn't see any questions in the chat or in Q&A, but does anyone have any questions for our panelists or anything they would like to add? And I'll just watch the Q&A in the chat really quickly. And then Veronica, is there anything you wanted to add?
I just feel honored to have had this opportunity to see students grow and to just really embrace reaching out to other students. And like I said, our students are, our student leaders for this are just so hardworking and they bring a wealth of experience. And I want to thank you, Dr. Lester, for supporting us. And also all of the vice presidents are just phenomenal and supporting us from purchasing the t-shirts so students could have t-shirts. So thank you.
Absolutely. Sakina.
I've had other professors ask in other meetings that we've had, well, I teach math or I teach science, how can I incorporate, equity into that? And I said, the easiest way you can do it, if you use PowerPoint slides, the pictures that you show people of different abilities, show couples that are of different races or of different gender identities. I mean, really, really simple step like that. That's one way, just like what Kana said, she walked into a classroom and saw a teacher that looked like her. When you look up on the screen and you see someone that looks like you, that helps with bonding that information. So I think that's just one quick and easy way that faculty can do. If you use PowerPoints, switch up the pictures.
And if I can add, we plan to put out a sheet for everyone before the end of the semester. So as you're planning your courses for the fall, just some things to think about. This is a work in progress. So in the fall, we hope to have a flex workshop to share more details about all of the projects that the faculty involved did.
Well, I also wanted to quickly add that we have tons of resources in the library, and the website is sdms.edu/library. A lot of the resources that faculty use are both online and physically in the library. So please reach out to myself or any of the librarians for resources that would help regarding working with students and promoting student success. Thank you.
Thank you, Adiama. All right, well, I don't see any other questions or chat. Did anyone have anything they wanted to add?
I wanted to thank all the faculty who gave students extra credit for attending the Propelled by Protest series. It makes a big difference as well.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting because there's so many opportunities for that. It should just be part of your syllabus to attend something like that, right? But if I'm a student, I'll take the extra credit any day of the week. You know, who knows what comes up in your life and you have to miss a quiz or something. And so absolutely, I think that's really awesome. Any kind of incentive that we can give. So, well, with that, I will say we'll close out our May 11th Mesa College Community Forum. Again, thank you to this wonderful group of presenters. We know that time is not free, and we appreciate that you chose to give it to all of us today. That is a gift that you gave to all of us and the work that you're doing together. So thank you for that. And also want to let you know that we will continue community forums. We won't do them twice a month. We'll have one a month, one in June and then one in July to kind of keep people up to date on what's happening on campus. I imagine that as we get closer and closer to vaccines and other kinds of things, that we may have announcements about more things being opened up on our campus. We're really, really hopeful that we might be able to open some common spaces for students to come to campus so that potentially we can start to use some of the resources when, of course, a physically distanced, safe, or whatever Dr. Fauci tells us to do, we will do. So, you know, in that way, we hope that we can start to expand access to campus. We're not going to force anybody to do anything, but we know that you want to be back. And so just wanted to let you know that we're working hard to do that in the safest way possible so we can actually be in community with one another again. In the meantime, be safe, wear your mask where you're supposed to, wash your hands, and be kind to each other. And thank you. With that, we are out.